Sound Off is a public interest forum that encourages your voice to be heard on the topics and issues impacting our local communities. For the next 30 minutes, we invite you to be part of the conversation by calling 219-362-0522. And you can now text your questions to the Liquor Vault on-air line or by email to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is a topic-based program, and we ask that you keep your comments brief, concise, and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. It's me again, Nate Laux, your friendly neighborhood Sound Off host. Glad to be with you on this beautiful day in LaPorte, Indiana. I've noticed it online and in conversations with people, the recent death of a 4-year-old here in LaPorte County by the hands of child abuse. It's making us think through some things. It's given us pause. It's also made many people ask questions about maybe how we can prevent things like this from happening in the future. Sure, sometimes bad things do happen. Sometimes it just does. But was there something maybe that could be done? Or is there something that Indiana should be doing to help mitigate some of these issues in the future? Based on data from the federal government, Indiana had the worst child fatality rate in America for child abuse in 2019. Why do you think that is? What do you think can be done about it? Let's talk about it today on Sound Off. If you have a comment or an opinion, call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email soundoff@967theeagle.com. Maybe you want to talk about the system a little bit, DCS, maybe child abuse that you've seen. Maybe you've been in the system before and you maybe have some recommendations for changes that need to be made. Maybe you're just like me, sad about it all. But we'd love to hear from you. 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. First, though, on this day in history. It was on October 18th, 1867, the United States formally took possession of Alaska after purchasing the territory from Russia for $7.2 million, or less than 2 cents an acre. The Alaska purchase comprised 586,412 square miles, about twice the size of Texas, and was championed by William Henry Seward, the enthusiastically expansionist Secretary of State under President Andrew Johnson. From 1867 to 1884, Alaska was considered a military district of the United States under the control of the federal government, known as just simply the Department of Alaska. From 1884 to 1912, it was designated as the District of Alaska. And from 1912 to 1959, it was organized into the Incorporated Territory of Alaska. Alaskans had sought statehood since as early as the 1920s, though this vision was not realized until a decade after World War II. President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the Alaska Statehood Act on July 7th, 1958, allowing Alaska to become the 49th U.S. state on January 3rd, 1959. Alaska as a state has given us people like Jewel, Kurt Schilling, and Carlos Boozer for you basketball fans. So today we celebrate you, Alaska. You have bears, decreasing snow, and more land than people realized. And that's on this day in history. So based on data from the federal government, Indiana has the worst child fatality rate in America in 2019. To kind of compare this is based on U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families, Administration on Children, Youth, and Families Children's Bureau. So if you follow any federal government, you know there's an agency, then a sub-agency, then a sub-agency to that. But anyway, there were 116 deaths of children from abuse in 2019. This is the most recent year of data we have. Obviously, 2020 and 2021 is going to be a little different because of the pandemic. And what's interesting about that is, again, the pandemic has mitigated some of the reporting agencies because so many of these things are reported from school, these kind of things. So the statistics might be a little skewed. But anyway, Indiana had 116 deaths, child abuse deaths, according to this. Illinois had 106. Michigan had 63, Ohio had 79, Wisconsin had 34, and Kentucky had 12. But even more so, the child fatality rates per 100,000 people, because again, the state sizes are different. Indiana had 7.4 per 100,000. Illinois had 3.76 per 100,000. Michigan had 2.94 per 100,000, and Kentucky had 1.2 per 100,000. Indiana had by far the most child fatality rates out of any state in America. And so we're talking about that. What do you think? Call or text the Looker Vault on airline at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Let's get to our first caller. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you with us. I hope your weekend was well. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, this atrocity, this happens far too often across this entire nation, not just our state. This is the second time that I remember, probably a decade or so ago, there was a young man who was watered down with a garden hose by his father behind the sewer treatment plant, then left outside to freeze to death. This here that happened again now, and every time this happens, the same government bureaucrats come up, and instead of accepting their responsibility for not doing their job, it's always, well, we're understaffed, we're overworked, we're underpaid. The answer to all three of those comments is no, no, and no. You have a job to do, period. There are people that are involved. The DCS can't even make these parents, deadbeat parents, pay child support when they know full well the parent, instead of paying support to the custodial parent, they're working for cash. They're selling sweet corn. They're selling vegetables. They're selling hay. So they can't make child support do that. There are people in elected offices that are involved with this. I'm not going to give the names because I have not got 100% accuracy about the judge and a lawyer that were involved in this that gave the child back to these parents. But in October of next year, when this trial begins, Stan Maddox needs to make sure the names of those elected officials involved in this are up there in the news every day, so that way in November of next year we can vote these people out. Again, the government is failing these poor, helpless, defenseless children. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for calling. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I'm sure Stan will be on top of it. If you followed our reporting on hometownnewsnow.com, you'll see many stories there, and Stan's been on top of it. But it is one of those things where I think in any situation like this, people are asking, did somebody drop the ball? Right? Did somebody see something, not say something? And honestly, I look at that as a neighbor too. When I sometimes just don't look at things, or when I see something and not say anything, because I think as neighborhood people too, we owe it to our neighbors, we owe it to our kids, we owe it to the people around us. If we see something, say something. And so, thanks so much for calling. Let's get to our second caller here. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you with us. Thanks for listening. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I can tell you what, I'm 53 years old, and I've lived in this system before. I think it has changed for the worse since I turned 18 years old. I think they need to revamp this whole entire thing. I think anyone that had their hands involved in either this case or the case previously to it should be fired immediately, no questions asked. They don't deserve their jobs. They didn't protect this baby. They took this baby and they gave it back to his dad after 4 years of being in a foster home, knowing they knew that home wasn't stable. You can't tell me they didn't. And like I said, I was made a ward of the state when I was 13 years old, and I lived in that system until I was 18.
Yeah, if you don't mind me
I
asking.
know what they can do.
If you don't mind me asking, because you do have firsthand experience, this is, I think, important to listen to as people. Again, I haven't been in the system, and you have. So I'm interested in your opinion here. What are some of the changes that you think should be made as somebody that's been in the system and somebody that's observed it?
Well, for one, if you've got a child and you get a telephone call and that child is your neighbor, say you called CPS on me or whoever, whatever.
It's changed.
What I mean.
It's DCS now, but yes.
And you
CPS,
called them on me. Why is it not like Florida's laws? Do you know what Florida's laws are?
I don't.
They go in and remove the kids. No questions asked. And then they find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you may miss your kid for a while. I understand if you didn't do it, but they had to follow through to get the child back.
Yeah.
Why not do something like that? I mean, this child was already fostered for 4 years.
Yeah. In
a foster home until the spring.
Yeah, it is.
And Mercedes, for instance, she was in another situation where they knew that they were cooking meth in that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't remove her.
Yeah.
It's upsetting. It makes me sick. I hate child abuse.
Yeah, if you're not upset by these stories, then I think you have a hard time with lacking
You're
a heart.
immoral.
Yeah, you lack a heart, I think. But thank you so much for sharing your experience, and thank you so much for calling.
I mean, my dad did a lot of things to me that I have forgiven him for now, and I wouldn't change it. But being a part of that system is a whole nother ballgame. Because, I mean, I had to go through diagnostic questions. I went through foster care. I went through girls' homes until the point that I was 18. Thank God I did, though, because I came out the way I am.
Yeah.
And my heart was to go this way and help these kids. But I did not, because I couldn't take child abuse.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and thank you so much for...
And I'm sorry. I feel sorry for any one of them, but I really honestly think they all need to lose their jobs. No questions asked. If we malfunctioned on a job like that, we would be gone.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's so hard. I'm not real familiar with foster care. I do know that sometimes kids can be used as a cudgel by adults who are upset with each other. And it's difficult work for social workers and DCS people to try to figure out where the truth resides. But when a child is abused, and there's certainly marks and there's things that are happening, it's hard to not... be black and white about that kind of stuff. But anyway, hey, we're going to take a real quick commercial break. I do want to say there was a text that came in here that says there is a wish list for the 3 remaining brothers posted on the Justice for Judah Facebook page. If you look for that on Facebook, I'm sure you can find it. We're talking about child abuse in Indiana. This isn't just happening in LaPorte County. It's happening all over the state. Indiana has the worst, according to the federal government, the worst amount of deaths by child abuse out of any state. So we've got systemic issues, right? This isn't just in LaPorte County. That might need legislative action. I don't know, but we're talking about it. What do you think? The Liquor Vault on-air line is 219-362-0522. Call me, text me, email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. And hey, don't go anywhere else. We'll be right back here after this break.
Ben Conowitz here, LaPorte Seamless Gutter, 219-362-9972. Fall is here, and that means leaves and debris for your gutter system. We've got 3 separate types of gutter guard for your home. Leaves and debris come in all shapes and sizes. We don't need a one-size-fits-all for your gutter. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com.
Come out to the Burger Bar and Grill for that Chicken of the Week or Burger of the Week special. While you are there, ask about the concoction of the week. If it's the lighter side of the Burger Bar and Grill you are looking for, try one of their salads. The Burger Bar and Grill is located at 821 East Lincoln Way. For more information, check them out on Facebook or call 219-324-1144. With a full bar, dine-in, or carry-out available, you will find something for everyone at the Burger Bar and Grill located at 821 East Lincoln Way here in LaPorte.
Looking for a dependable tire shop that won't take you for a ride? Flanagan's Tire in Michigan City has been voted #1 tire dealer 18 years in a row. Their family has been serving Michigan City and surrounding areas for over 70 years. Located 130 West 6th Street in Michigan City, they do alignments, brakes, oil changes, and of course tires. Come on down and see Kyle and the rest of the family at Flanagan Tire. Your hometown tire dealer is Flanagan Tire in Michigan City, where they mark them up just a wee little bit.
Well, Dennis Siddell is on vacation. Joe is on assignment, so it's you and me, Rick Anthony, all week long on 96.7 The Eagle. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we're going to find out why it is the most miserable day. You think Monday is the most miserable day? We're going to find out why Tuesday is considered the most miserable day of the week. We'll get through it together. We'll have Stan's news and Wayne Mahar's weather and a whole lot of great music to keep you company. Be sure to join me beginning at 5 a.m. on 96.7 The Eagle, your home for country music variety.
Your forecast on 96.7 The Eagle brought to you by Harmon Expert Auto Service. If you're looking for a local and quality auto repair company, then look no further than Harmon Expert Auto with 2 locations in LaPorte, 308 Washington or 111 Brighton Streets. Visit their website at harmonexpertautoservice.com or call 325-0444.
Michiana weather.
Clear skies and quiet this afternoon with highs around 70. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 45 tonight. Highs around 71 tomorrow. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com. Right now, 66.
Your opinion matters. We invite you to share it by calling or texting the Liquor Ball on-air line at 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. Glad to have you with us today. We are talking about some stuff happening, again, based on the federal government. Indiana has the worst child fatality rate in America in 2019. Why do you think that is? What do you think can be done about it? We're going to talk about it on today's Sound Off. If you have a comment or opinion, you can call or text the Liquor Ball on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email soundoff@967theeagle.com. You know, I was doing some data here, some data research this just last night, and I'm going to confess my ignorance, as I often do here. The data that the federal government says is different than the data that the state government says. So the state government says there were only this amount of child abuse and neglect deaths, whereas the federal government says no, there was actually this amount. So if you're involved in this system and you know why there's a difference, please let me know. But according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families, the Administration on Children, Youth and Families Children's Bureau, child fatalities in Indiana in 2015 was 34, 2016 was 70, 2017 was 78, 2018 was 80, and 2019 was 116. These aren't just made up numbers. These are from the U.S. Department of HHS. So we're talking about that. We see the numbers increasing. What do you think can be done? Let's get to your callers. Thank you so much for calling. Thanks for waiting on the line. What's your thoughts on this?
Is that me?
Yep, that's you. Glad to have you on the show. What do you think?
Okay, well, I've been not in foster care. I've been a foster mother I still have a special needs child who's 55.
Oh, great.
And that right there is the answer to the problem. They don't have foster homes. They go in and they take these children out. I've got calls in the middle of the night to get an emergency call. And really, if we even had an orphanage home, which would be better, like they do have some group homes for teenagers, but they need foster homes. Where was they going to put that child? Maybe that foster brother, luckily he had a foster home, but maybe she had to give him up for a reason. But that's the crux of the matter. They go in and take these children away, and they have nowhere to put them because they're so desperate for foster homes. So don't blame the social workers. They do their very best, but they've got to have somewhere to take that poor little child.
And I want to echo some of your thoughts on this. Is social work is, for me, one of the highest callings, because it's often terrible pay and hard work. And so I want to thank all of those who are doing social work, whether it's in child abuse and neglect or other things. But I hope what you said is true, in that when something like this happens and we're looking for maybe what we can do to influence this or to be a part of the solution, one of the things you can do, listeners, is you can volunteer to be a foster parent, and help parents and help children who are needing time away from each other to get rehabilitated, to get restored to their families. Obviously, not every case is like the one that just happened in LaPorte County, but there are many cases in LaPorte County that need help, and one of the ways you can do that is in foster care. So we're talking about this. If you've got a question or if you've got an opinion on this, 219-362-0522. Let's get to our next caller.
Mom said no.
Hey, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on the show with us today. What is your thoughts on this?
Hi, yes. I was calling because me and my husband have actually gone through this. Our babysitter abused our little baby. She was 9 months old at the time when she started getting abused. We didn't notice until our pediatrician actually told us to get nanny cams. And so we found out, we went through the whole process of, calling the cops, filing a report. It finally went to court, and she got off. We had black and white video of her, dragging our baby across the room by one arm, smacking her, hitting her, and they let her go. She had 1 year of probation, unsupervised. That's it. And, even they said, if it turned out to be worse and she wound up in a hospital or dead, we would be able to do more. And I totally agree with the first caller about how we need to reelect different officials, because even if my daughter didn't get murdered or severely injured, she has mental issues now, because now she hits us, she bites herself, she pulls her own hair. A lot of things that now we have to try and work through with her to change that. And it's just, it's crazy to think that we had video proof, multiple videos, and they just let her go. They didn't punish her in any means that I believe or we believe should have been done.
All right. Well, I'm sorry about that. I thank you so much for sharing that experience. I think people need to hear these cases and what's going on, because, again, this is real life. These are real people. I do want to add this kind of nuance to it, because I think it's important to understand that some of the problems, the rules aren't created by social workers or even DCS workers, right? Those aren't the rule creators. The laws are designed in Indianapolis and handed down through the system. Sometimes I do think we just like in law officers, police officers, and different things, sometimes their hands are tied based on the laws and the guidelines and the rules they have to follow. Sometimes budgets are involved, and they're told to do certain things to make sure that the budgets aren't, over budget. Sometimes leaders are concerned with perception and things like this, and so it is all encompassing. It's not just sometimes, one office dropped the ball. Sometimes the whole system needs repaired. And so we're talking about that today. What do you think? 219-362-0522. Let's get to another caller. Thanks so much for calling the show. Thanks for listening. What's your thoughts on child abuse and these statistics, these sobering statistics in Indiana?
Hi there.
Hi. Thanks for calling.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, good. I'm 94 years old, and I want to talk about foster care.
Please do.
I just wonder how much they're paid, if they're qualified to really take these children in, because when I was 8 years old, I was put in an orphanage in Mishawaka, Indiana. And believe it or not, we had great care there. We learned to do our chores. We had discipline. I wasn't there very long, probably about 8 months when my mother took me out. But I'm just wondering, is there any orphanages anymore, or is it all foster care? And I really get a little suspicious of some of these foster care families because from what I hear, they're paid quite well.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're paid. I'm not sure what it is. I'll look into it. And I do know that, again, it's paid differently based on whether it's just a general foster care case or foster care with services, therapeutic foster care, these kind of things. And so it is paid differently. And maybe one of our listeners can educate and inform us a little bit on that. So we're going to take another quick break, our final break of the day. We are talking about, again, based on data from the federal government, Indiana has the worst child fatality abuse rate in America based on statistics in 2019, the most recent published statistics. Why do you think that is? What do you think can be done about it? We're talking about it on today's Sound Off. If you have a comment or an opinion, you could call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. We're going to take our final break of the day. Keep listening right here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Tire sale on now at both Cannon's locations. Brands like Michelin, Hankook, Hercules, and Cooper. Rebates of up to $160. Free alignment inspection and schedule your fall tune-up, oil change, tire rotation, brake inspection, and winter-ready inspection, all for $56.02. Don't wait weeks for auto repairs. Same-day appointments available. See the experts at Cannon Automotive. 2 great locations, 710 Tyler and 909 Boyd Boulevard. Go further with Cannon's Automotive.
Hi, this is Michael Morrison with the New York Blower Company. The New York Blower Company has been in business for more than 132 years, and we are continuing to expand products and services worldwide. We are an industry leader in manufacturing premium quality engineered fans and blowers to the marketplace. If you have welding and production experience, I would like to personally invite you to apply for our available positions. We offer a complete benefits package with competitive wages. Come see what sets us apart from the rest. Visit nyb.com or visit us on Facebook to apply today.
Get ready for fall fun at Garwood Orchards all September and all October. You don't want to miss out on everything we have going on. You pick apples, pumpkins, there's sunflowers, a variety of vegetables, tomatoes, and peppers. Plus at our market, freshly made donuts, a full line of produce and jams and jellies. There's fresh apple cider that we make right on the farm and our own hand-dipped caramel apples. You don't want to miss making a trip to Garwood's on 50 South near Pinola, just west of LaPorte. GarwoodOrchard.com.
LaPorte County Cars, the car business done right. Locally owned, great inventory with conventional and in-house financing. Transparent sales from start to finish. See them at LaPorteCountyCars.com, on Facebook, or stop in and see Gene today. JJ's Side Out Bar and Grill, located in the heart of LaPorte at 332 Park Street. JJ's Side Out Bar and Grill is your one-stop destination for a full menu 7 days a week. Open daily at 10 a.m. They are family-owned and passionate about food, beer, and family fun. So make plans to bring the family out and stop in for one of our famous burgers or check out their Facebook page for their daily specials. While you're there, check out the dessert menu. Did you know they have the best craft beer and cider selection in town? Make sure to check out JJ's Side Out Bar and Grill. Come get served.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back, friends, to our final segment of Sound Off. Glad to have you with us today. We are talking about a tough topic, but one that certainly needs to get talked about. We're having a conversation about child abuse in Indiana, and specifically why you think and what can be done to mitigate some of the deaths that are happening in children in Indiana. Obviously, the federal government statistics are a little bit different than the state government statistics, but the federal government says there were 116 deaths, child neglect and abuse deaths in Indiana, again in 2019, the highest out of any state. I mean, honestly, way higher than most other states, which to me suggests a legislative issue as well, not just a boots on the ground issue. So we're talking about that. Let's get to a caller, see what you think. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your thoughts on this?
Yes, are you familiar with the secret hand signal?
No, I'm
help
not.
me. Well, look it up. It's real simple. It should be taught in schools and for teachers and parents. You open your palm of your hand, take your four fingers and put them towards the palm, open back up, and then put the thumb down to the palm. Help me.
Okay.
The secret system that should be taught. I saw it on YouTube or something a while back. Look it up, then you can spread the word on the secret hand signal for help me.
All right, that's a good note.
I saw a thing in the... some guy had this little girl in the hand going down a hallway. She touched another person on the thigh, and he looked around and she gave that hand signal to help me, like she was in distress.
Well, thank you.
So that will help.
Yeah, that's a good note.
them.
Thank you so much. And again, I think that should be taught in schools as well. Thank you so much. Hey, we've got some texts coming in here. We're talking about child abuse in Indiana. Here's a text. Social worker here. Thank you so much for acknowledging lawmakers' responsibilities. Hey, here on Sound Off, it almost always comes back to lawmakers' responsibilities, in my opinion. People are so quick to blame the social worker, but the reality is every voter votes the lawmakers in office that sets the policy and laws that social workers have to abide by. And again, I do know some social workers, and I do know that sometimes their hands are tied on some things. And again, there are laws, there are rules. Sometimes there's budgets. And again, people say, be careful about what you do here because we're trying to abide by a budget. And I really loathe the idea that when it comes to child abuse that ever budgets are even in mind. But again, that's the world we live in. Here we go. Social worker opinion here. Thank you so much for acknowledging. Oh, sorry, that was the same one. Here's another one. So before giving Jonah back to his parents, no one went to the home to see what he was returning to. This is beyond tragic and appalling. Those involved in DCS from the bottom to the top should be criminally charged. Please, everyone, contact your legislators and get some enforceable laws in place to prevent the next Jonah. I hope everyone in our local DCS is getting mental health care for feeling guilty about this, and those who don't feel guilty should have a lifetime ban worldwide to never work in this type of work again. Frankly, those with no remorse should face jail time. All right, we're talking about child abuse statistics. We're talking about what's going on in Indiana, especially what LaPorte County has went through. But I think our conversations need to expand beyond LaPorte County. Indiana's got issues, okay? We've got some things going on. For instance, the child fatality rate. We had 116 child fatalities from abuse and neglect. 116 in 2019. Far more than Illinois, far more than Michigan, far more than Kentucky. And so we're talking about why that is, what can be done. Is this an education issue? Is this a lawmaking issue? Again, I understand people frustrated with DCS. I understand people frustrated with social workers. I understand all of that. I'm frustrated with just about everyone right now, including myself, for things that maybe I walk by and I don't say enough about. But I also know that our frustration should lead to change, or it's toxic for all of us. And so we're getting your opinions. Let's get to another caller. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on. What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's just one of the greatest tragedies that's occurred in this county in some time. And your first caller referred to it as an atrocity, and he's absolutely correct in that. I feel that little boy was let down by so many people. Yes, the agencies, the government agencies, certainly to put the child back in the hands of an abuser as they did. But were there no aunts, no uncles, no grandparents, or was this just part of a revolving cycle of abuse that's been going on for some time? Who knows? It's like so many layers like an onion. You know what I'm saying? I've studied a lot of that in my professional career. You know, we studied abuse. I don't know, but I just feel that the child was let down. There should have been someone noticing something, and if not doing something themselves, then notifying the proper authorities. I don't know, because I don't know any of those people, and I can't make allegations. But it sure is a tragic event, Pastor, but I'm so glad that you took this on today, because I think it's very relevant. And yes, it is a real problem within this state. I've heard about it. Again, in my professional career, I saw and heard a great deal about it, and it's not new, tragically. But anyhow, that's all I've got. But thank you again, Pastor.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for calling, and thanks again for listening. All right, let's get to our final caller of the day. Thank you so much for calling in. You're our final caller of the day. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know a whole bunch about the law pertaining to this kind of subject, but doesn't this really fall under some of the same categories of, violations that happen, and there's a million laws covering them, and the sad fact is you're just going to have this happen sometimes because nothing's perfect. I mean, you've already got some of these red flag laws in different states where some idiot can just make a phone call and they're over at your house confiscating your guns, or they're over at your house confiscating your kids. I mean, how much more do you actually need? What are you going to do? Just no knock search law? They just come in while you're sleeping, see what you're doing. I think a lot of people get upset about these things, but they don't realize how many laws are already in effect for it.
Yeah, thanks so much for calling. I honestly don't know all the laws, and I don't know, as other callers have called in other episodes saying, make sure we're following all the laws that we do have. But I do know that the data is what the data is, and I know that there are more in 2019. There were more child abuse and neglect deaths in Indiana than any other state, and so I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what the solutions are. I'm not, as Forrest Gump says, a very smart man, but I know that this should be a topic we're concerned about. This should be something that we are talking about, having conversations about. Not necessarily, let the law work through and hold people accountable for those who should be held accountable. I don't want to blame anybody that was doing the right thing or tried to do the right thing and got their hands, caught into something that they couldn't control. Ultimately, the people to blame are the parents. But again, we're talking about this. We'll continue talking about it. I want to thank you so much for listening. Also, I want to thank you, social workers, for doing a thankless job oftentimes for little money. Thank you, educators, who are often on the front line of reporting things that they see. Thank you to the lawmakers that are trying to do the right thing and concerned with those who are on the outside, those who don't have a vote for themselves. Thank you to the families not turning a blind eye to aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas. Thank you to neighbors who say something when we see something. Thank you to those who are feeling the weight of this tragedy but not giving in to the cynicism or the pessimism of the hour and saying we could and should do something. All right, I want to thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. We'll be back on Friday. John Lake will be on the show to talk about law issues. I'm sure this will probably come up. I'm not sure how much he can talk about it, but hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit about this even in general, child abuse, these kind of things. And so be listening then on Friday at 12:15 right here on 96.7 The Eagle, or right here on 96.7 The Eagle and hometownnews.com, hometownnewsnow.com. Man, I'm flubbing. I got to go now. Have a good day. Be good to yourself. Be good to others.